Cereal time, cereal time, cereal time, whoa.
Super Golden Crisp. Barney, my pickles!
What's up, cereal heads? Today's video is going to be a little different because we're going to talk about classic cereal commercials instead of one specific cereal. Now, I've made a similar video in the past where I showed some of my favorite old commercials. This will be like that video, but we're going to talk specifically about cereal commercials from the 80s that featured fun ad campaigns and some fun prizes. Opening up a box of cereal and digging around for that prize used to be so fun, and I'm bummed that younger kids these days will never know what that joy is like. But today I'm going to show you a handful of commercials from the 80s that feature some prizes that, if you're my age, you might remember. First, let's start with one of my favorite prizes from cereal boxes back in the 80s. This prize came in a handful of Kellogg's boxes like Corn Pops, Frosted Flakes, and Fruit Loops. But here's an Apple Jacks commercial from the 80s featuring that prize at the end.
A is for apple. J is for Jacks. Give me a beef that's actually sweet. Big crunchy Apple Jacks.
Kellogg's Apple Jacks, made with real apples. An appley sweet part of this complete breakfast.
Fun to eat and appley sweet. Kellogg's Apple Jacks.
Coming at you free, your own wacky wall walker. It tumbles and crawls down walls and even glows in the dark. It's wacky and free in Apple Jacks.
So that's right, they were called Wacky Wall Walkers, and these plastic sticky toys were so fun to throw at objects or surfaces and watch them walk down the wall. Now, as I said, in the 80s, they offered these in a handful of cereal boxes, and like that one just showed, they also had a glow-in-the-dark Wacky Wall Walker. These simple little toys were popular and memorable. They even had a Christmas special featuring Wall Walker characters called Deck the Halls with Wacky Walls that came out in 1983. You can still buy the Wacky Wally version of these octopus toys today, so if you've never had the experience of playing with one of these toys, definitely go pick one of these things up. But it'll never compare to getting a glow-in-the-dark one inside a box of cereal back in the 80s. Now let's take a look at another popular toy that was offered in Kellogg's cereals in the 80s. Here's a Corn Pops ad from 1985. Wait until the end for the prize.
I gotta feel the taste, gotta make it right. Just one thing will do. Gotta get pumped, yeah, gotta get pumped.
The pop sensation of Kellogg's Corn Pop cereal, part of this nutritious breakfast.
I gotta get pumped, yeah, gotta get pumped.
Never before in this galaxy, free Starbots. Star travelers you transform and put together. One free in Corn Pops.
So Starbots were kind of like Transformers or GoBots, but they were cheaper and lamer considering they were just free toys given away in cereal boxes. There were 4 different Starbots you could collect, and each came in a different color. There was one that looked like a Starship Enterprise, one that looked like a spaceship, a stealth bomber, and a helicopter. My buddy Matt over at Dinosaur Dracula has talked extensively about these toys on his blog and on his Purple Stuff podcast. I remember loving collecting these in the cereal boxes, but they never really compared to my GoBots collection. But these Starbots were in a bunch of Kellogg's cereals in the 80s, even the classic forgotten OJ cereal. A cereal I really wish Kellogg's would bring back, even if they have to change it to like a creamsicle cereal and get rid of OJ Joe the mascot. Anyway, let's move on to Frosted Flakes next. There was an ad campaign in the early 80s that featured these henchmen trying to steal the secret formula for Frosted Flakes from Tony. You can search on YouTube for Frosted Flakes secret formula if you want to watch a bunch of those ads. Here's a shorter one that featured a prize inside at the end.
Boy, Tony, your balloon's a gas.
Quick, gas to the formula!
The formula makes Kellogg's Frosted Flakes a delicious part of this good breakfast. They're great!
Think they learned their lesson, Tony?
I'd say they got the point. Now, inside specially marked packages of Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, you'll find a free diving submarine or free circling rescue boat. You have to put it together and add baking powder. The free rescue boat or submarine, they're great!
So inside special boxes of Frosted Flakes or Corn Flakes in the 80s, you could get a little submarine or rescue boat that you filled with baking soda, and then it would move around in the water. You can see what they look like here still in their plastic. Now the cool thing about these little toys is that Kellogg's actually introduced them about 30 years prior in Frosted Flakes. In the late 50s, they offered an atomic sub that you could get in boxes of Frosted Flakes cereal. It was essentially the same toy you got in the 80s, so a whole generation of kids got to play with the same toy that their parents got in Frosted Flakes cereal when they were younger. Okay, let's move on to one of my favorite cereals of all time, Cap'n Crunch. Now Cap'n Crunch gave out so many toys and prizes with their cereal, it's hard for me to remember even half of them. But they had some really great ad campaigns in the 80s. One of my favorites was for Crunch Island. Here, take a look.
After many years, Cap'n Crunch has returned to mysterious Crunch Island to search for
the Crunch Island treasure!
Wow!
So we gotta find it before the sun sets over Mount Crunchmore!
But Miss Hurry!
Welcome home, Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch!
We really missed you a bunch.
Singing trees. And baseball bat? Wow!
Crunchmore.
And look where it is.
The Crunch Island treasure.
Gold.
Sure.
And a whole box of Captain Crunch cereal.
That's treasure?
Sure, Captain Crunch cereal is part of a complete breakfast. It crunches like crazy and it tastes like a million.
Now from Captain Crunch cereal,
A map of Crunch Island.
plus 7 stickers of the captain and crew.
Where can we go now? Let's take the captain to the Lost City.
1 map and sticker set in specially marked boxes of Captain Crunch.
So you can see the captain there with his entire crew of Dave, Brunhilde, Carlisle, and Alfie. They had a few different ads with the crew exploring Crunch Island. One featured them hopping over the hot springs, one had them climbing a mountain, Sea Dog was in one of the commercials. I just remember really being into Crunch Island when I was a kid, so the opportunity to get a map of Crunch Island was really, really cool. You can see what that map looked like here with all the featured points of interest like the singing trees or the hot springs. You could take the stickers that came with it and place the characters all over the map. It was a very low cost, low effort prize, but it really helped build out the mythology of the Captain Crunch universe. Personally, I think they should make a Captain Crunch cartoon today. The characters in the world are rich and ripe for exploring more. I'd write that show in a second if Quaker asked me. Okay, so there's only a few more commercials left. Let's take a look at Rice Krispies next. This ad is from the 80s as well, and I remember it more because of the commercial, not really for the prize at the end, but here, take a look.
Bill's Rice Krispies sounded great until... Hush! Hush!
They stopped talking.
Hush!
Hey, put him down and snap to it.
Snap? Yeah, snap!
Whoa, what? And the talking part of this complete breakfast returns.
Rice Krispies.
Now you can surprise your pop with new Action Poppers. It'll drive him up the wall. You can get one free in Rice Krispies.
So those 3 little Snap, Crackle, and Pop poppers were fun. I remember having them back in the day. They were just like those little dome poppers you turn inside out, but they had Snap, Crackle, and Pop on top. But the monster from that commercial is what I really remember being interested in. They didn't usually have villains or foils for Snap, Crackle, and Pop in the Rice Krispie commercials. And this monster with ears all over his body who was annoyed at the sound of Snap, Crackle, and Pop, well, that was a really weird and unique concept. I just want to know more about that monster. In fact, I feel bad for the poor guy. Here he is just minding his own business and some annoying kid brings this noisy cereal to his jungle home, invading his peace and tranquility. I mean, I don't blame him for trying to get rid of that loud crackling sound. Anyway, I hope that monster's doing okay these days and somebody got him a bunch of noise-canceling headphones or something. Next up, let's take a look at a commercial for Trix cereal from the 80s. Now, you know that Silly Rabbit is always getting into some trouble, but this ad features something that's a little relevant for today. Here, take a look.
Since I can't get tricks from kids, I'll make some myself.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
With orangey oranges, lemony lemons, grapey grapes, fruity fruits. Hope I didn't gum it up. Huh? Gummy rabbits? In fruity flavors? Oh, I better hide them. But where?
In the box of Silly Rabbit, where you kids will find 4 free gummy rabbits.
Gummy rabbits in
I love this commercial and this prize. You got a little pack of 4 fruity gummy rabbits inside of Trix cereal. Just in case a bowl of Trix cereal wasn't enough candy for you, they offered some candy right there inside the box. But the reason I picked this commercial is because General Mills, through Betty Crocker, recently released some Trix gummies. These came out just in time for Easter. As you can see on the packaging, it says great for egg hunts. They come in a variety of different fruit shapes and some that are shaped like the rabbit's head. These are actually pretty tasty fruit snacks, but they don't compare to the rabbit gummies you used to get in a box of Trix cereal back in the 80s. Okay, so last but not least, we have to talk about Lucky Charms. Lucky has been great about including awesome toys and prizes in his cereal for years. You might remember in a previous video I talked about the swirled whale marshmallows and the swirled whale toy that you could send away for. There was also a box that featured a little tree that you could send away for. There's been lots of fun promotions and prizes for Lucky Charms throughout the years. But there was one ad campaign I completely forgotten about until I was browsing YouTube looking for Lucky Charms commercials. It's not all that big and special or unique, but it brought back some nostalgia for me when I saw the commercial. Here, take a look.
Whoa! We've got Lucky cornered! We'll get his Lucky Charms this time.
Not so fast, me friends. I make an ice cave and hide in my own reflections with me Lucky Charms, the marshmallowy part of this nutritious breakfast. With pink hearts, orange stars, yellow moons, green clovers, blue diamonds, and purple horseshoes. Yikes, I'm trapped in ice and freezing.
Look, he needs help! But how can we find the real Lucky?
Those kids can't.
But you kids at home can when you watch this commercial on TV with these magic glasses, free in specially marked boxes of Lucky Charms, and with them you can find the real Lucky magically on TV.
I can see him.
Can you find the real Lucky too? You can with your magic glasses in Lucky Charms.
Now this ad came out around 1988, and I remember getting those magic glasses in a box of Lucky Charms. But I don't remember ever seeing the commercial again when I had those glasses nearby, and I never found out which one was the real Lucky. I'm not even really sure how the glasses worked, if they were like 3D glasses. I have vague memories of a continuation of the commercial where they showed you which one was the real Lucky, but I'm not actually sure. That could just be a false memory. I found some of these magic glasses online, so I guess I could just buy them and then watch the YouTube video to discover which one was the real Lucky. But that seems like a lot of work. Maybe one of you out there remembers this ad campaign as well and can kind of help fill in the holes in my memory. Basically, I just want to know more about it. Do you remember having these glasses? Do you remember spotting the real Lucky in the commercial? Do you remember if there was a follow-up commercial? Let me know anything you remember down in the comments. I miss these kind of ad campaigns for cereals. The ones that were interactive and lasted over a few commercials and you had to solve some puzzle to help figure things out. Those were the good old days, man. Okay, so I guess that's gonna do it for this compilation of classic 80s cereal commercials. Let me know down in the comments if you have any favorite toys or prizes from the 80s or commercials from that time that you remember that you can't find on YouTube. Sometimes all it takes is a little mention of something to help jog your memory and send you on a trip down memory lane. I hope you enjoyed this video even though it was a little different. Next week we'll get back to covering individual cereals. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time, stay crunchy. Which mascot had the better commercial in the 80s?